welcome back. I'm still filling in for Errant, who is still institutionalized, and I will continue my project of my Genestealer Cultists here. Now, we are now 1 week later than when I left you the last time. During the past week, I had a plan of maybe getting a couple of hours of painting in here and there at night before going to bed, to maybe start off on the arms of my Genestealer. Since everything is magnetized, I got the arms separate, and I wanted to just get some of the basic colors onto those, since last time I only painted the rest of the mini. Unfortunately, this has been one of those weeks that's consisted of only bad Mondays, so I haven't actually gotten around to do anything whatsoever. So we are continuing exactly where we left off. So I have my, let's get one of these up. Here's you for the camera. We gotten as far as, let's get really close here. We have skin color and some pants, and it's hard to see now since there's so much unpainted on it, but most of the torso is also painted because it's a gray and black thing, so that's pretty good. Still need all the details and lots of other stuff on it, and the base is like halfway done as well. I really enjoy doing the base part, so I always try and leave that so when I get frustrated with painting, I can always do some constructive stuff on the bases, and before going back to keep painting what really frustrates me. So that's where we are right now, and now it's back to work, and hopefully I'll get these guys at least nearly finished this time round. I've got, yeah, most of the Friday. We are now, I think it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, maybe 3. Let me see, just take a watch. Yeah, 2:45 in the afternoon. I've got the entire day for painting. Maybe, of course, having a few breaks, and then I also get at least half the day tomorrow for painting, so hopefully that will be enough time for me to finish these 10 guys off. So yeah, get to work. Still working out of Errant's workshop, so I'm still finding stuff that's that I can use. I don't really have a complete overview of his where all his tools are. But again, one thing I found that I was really lacking last time around is this wonderful tool called a dripper for thinning down the paints. Really practical to just a single drop at a time. Makes it a lot easier instead of having to pour water in using the brush. So yeah, that'll save a bit of time. So yeah, back to work. Okay. Back to painting, just to ease myself back into the projects. I'm gonna start off with the arms. I'm gonna paint a bit of skin coloration on them, just to get some fairly easy work done where I don't have to think too much and don't have to consider my color choice or anything like that, and something I can produce fairly quickly and get a few results going. Always feels nice to start off by doing something that makes it clear that you're actually moving forward on the project. So yeah, since I've magnetized them, we got the arms in a set like this, most of them. This case situation holding a shotgun, and I'm just gonna start painting hands on this right now. Still haven't quite figured out which color scheme I want to use on the guns themselves, but I'll probably figure that out during today. Probably go consult a color wheel or something like that to find something that goes well with the purple skin, and yeah, and so, and well, the gray uniform part is anything goes with gray, but here goes. And this is, of course, again, this horrible quality skin paint I'm using, just to use the same as I used on their faces. This will, yeah, and I'm starting off with the shaky hand syndrome. That's always nice. Get the paint a bit all over. Yeah, well, we'll get it done. Of course, it's not too bad, but the shaky hand might get some paint all over places where it's not supposed to go. It doesn't really matter, since it's the very first thing I'm painting on the minis. Now, when the models are magnetized like this, it makes it a bit fiddly to paint the arms, because, yeah, well, a small piece is hard to hold on to and stuff like that. But on the other hand, it does make sure you can get in everywhere, so that's good. And yeah, so 2 quick thin coats of skin color and then some purple ink. Remember, the whole theme of this is purple ink, so I think by now, I haven't actually heard the result, but I was told that Amanda or Adamant recorded a little theme song for me. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm looking forward to that as well. It's always nice. Never had my own theme song before. Okay, so now I've painted a few of the arms skin color, hands and arms, and due to this horrible paint that took 3 thin coats to get them at least fairly covered skin color, but now I am dead bored by doing that, so I am going to start on a few toxic pools on the bases, just to do something that's a bit more interesting. And my toxic pools, which are going to end up being mainly green, I'm gonna start off in a turquoise, because especially for something that's liquid, I like to build up the colors really slowly. So I'm gonna start in actually a turquoise and then build them up to a really bright green. I probably could skip a few of the steps without it being noticeable, but I kind of enjoy like really building up and this slight color variations and stuff like that. So this is how I roll for this, and that's the important part, is to actually enjoy what you're doing. It's a very small, very square pool I've gotten on this one. Oh well. Maybe I can get it a bit in under, so it looks like it's more under the metal, sheet metal. Continues in there, like that. Seems fairly good. Now I am only going to mix it up a bit, how I make my pools between one that builds up from turquoise to green, and one that goes the other direction, from green to turquoise, so that this way. There are some more variation on the bases than what I usually do, but I think the end result will be fairly good. And since they're still built up from the same colors, means some pools will be darker than others, but it's still the same colors, and that should still give a kind of cohesion within the unit. Also, if I actually this time around get around to expanding this to a whole army at some point instead of just, and I really don't mean the just, but instead of only using them for skirmish games, then this will also help to tie the army together, even if I give them the different units different uniforms, because, well, it is Genestealer cults and they come from all walks of life, and they might not be organized enough to actually have a proper uniform. Now, when you are painting on my fairly mediocre level, it's important to keep experimenting. So whenever I'm doing any kind of painting project, I'm always trying to do something I haven't done before. Let me see, there was 5 of them. I think I want a few more to have the greener pool, especially this one actually. This one I'm trying to have the pool actually run off the base. Just try and see if I can get that looking decent. Might be a horrible idea, but my idea was to actually have the, don't know if you can see this, but I want the pool to actually continue down the side of the base, so the base trim actually has the pool running down it. So I'm gonna do this. Have it continue down like that. That might be a really bad idea, but I'll see it in the end. So if it doesn't work out, I can always make the base trim, which is the very last thing I paint, just paint it over. Now, just to illustrate, my pools are going to use this turquoise, this more greenish turquoise, going over to the more green. Then we have slightly lighter green, and finally ending up with this toxic green thing here. Somewhere in between I'll be using some green tone ink wash to make it all look a bit more yucky. So that'll be good, but the rest of them I'm going to start off with the opposite end of the scale and pick the other way. Here. Now, I think I thinned that down a bit too much. Oh well, just give it a few more layers of it then. I am recording a lot more while I'm painting the bases because it doesn't take as much brain power to paint the bases. So I actually have brain to spare for actually talking. Yeah, really don't like work, as I said. said the unemployed guy. Dear future boss, if you're watching this video, when I say I don't like work, I mean it in the work smarter, not harder sense of the word. Please hire me. Now for these toxic pools, I am gonna end up giving them some really heavy coats of varnish to give them that sheen, to make them look more liquid, humid, whatever the word is. So now that my bases just got a extra splash of color, that means I can actually look down over my minions and say, hey, they just got better. And then I can get back to the arms and hands and stuff like that. As you can see, here you can see, got some skin color on the hands. That's 3 coats with a really lousy paint, but that's okay. Time to give it a bit of purple wash. Still have tons of hands I haven't painted yet because, oh, sorry Mother Nurgle, it's really boring to paint hands like that, but needs doing. So far I think I've finished up painting the skin color on all of them, which means I will never ever again have to use this horrible Colors of War European skin paint. This one will go into the bin. I had forgotten exactly how horrible it was. So lousy. The whole concept of 2 thin coats became 4 thin coats instead, and that's just to get some underlying skin color before I apply purple ink. So, also my pools have gotten an extra layer of, well, slightly darker on this one, and well, see, like, it's really hard to show it for the camera like that. And this one has gotten a slightly lighter color on top of the turquoise, which means that when they are done, the pools, then the one that's light color here, light green, will end up looking, let me just zoom out a bit so it's easier to show, will end up looking something like this, and the one that's darker will end up looking something like this one. So the light one will become dark and the dark one will become light, because building up the colors, especially when it's supposed to be some kind of liquid like this, actually pays off quite a lot towards the end. So that's where I'm at right now. Been painting for, I don't know, well, continually probably for about an hour and a half, but with a few breaks for coffee and stuff like that, but we're slowly getting there. One of the major next steps I need to do is I need to consult a color wheel and decide on a color scheme for the weapons. This is 40k, and in the wonderful world of the 41st millennium, guns don't have to be boring black, so they will get a color. I haven't decided on which one yet, but it should be something that goes well with the purplish skin color and the orange clothing, and well, also the gray armor bits, but well, anything goes with gray, so that's not a problem. Also, some of the minis have, let me see if I can find one that has it, has like this going on, hang down between the legs. I think that I will paint that purple because it's nowhere near any of the skin, and they are called Genestealer Cultists, and I do like the color purple for any kind of cult. it's kind of a theme for me. Well, and another excuse to use some more purple ink before having to drink the rest of it. Okay, so update on the progress so far. Started off at the easy part, gotten a bit further with my toxic pools. They're almost done now. So right now they're drying from some green ink that all of them got. Well, the hand I painted purple gloves on. That finished, just the first layer of normal purple covers very well, so a single layer is enough for base color, which is nice. I am doing some color tests for how I want my guns to look like. I have one drying here, which is a very yellowish green, or actually a slightly greenish yellow, which has then gotten some green ink on top of it. I want to see how that turns out. Then I have this one, which is I am slightly more hopeful about. This was painted with a Japanese uniform from Vallejo, and then with a green wash on top of that one. When that dries up, I want to dry brush it with that very yellowish green color from before. See how it turns out. Hopefully it won't look too much like toy guns, which might happen. So hopefully I'm not just figuring out how to paint Nerf guns, but actually how to paint guns that look slightly, well, colored guns, as in the 41st millennium, hopefully. So this is just for figuring out what would will work for my color scheme. Also, I have a very, very unlikely color, very green. There it is. Definitely not going to go with that one. That was an early test. So I am getting places now. I have gotten some base colors on all the arms. I decided on a color scheme for the gun. Not that this gun is in any way finished, but I think you might be able to get a feeling of where it's going color-wise. Also, my toxic pools are nearly done. They just need a single color more, all of them, and then some varnish. Looking fairly well. Although I'm still quite happy with what the project is going. So I'll probably just finish up the last color on the toxic pools, and then I might call it a night. Okay, so now it has become tomorrow, and I'll just make a quick status report from what I finished last night. I don't think I actually completed a progress report last night. So first of all, I have managed to paint a 40k weapon into a Nerf gun. This is not the color scheme I was going for. This is more like the gun I'm going for. It is not completed in any way, but that was just to get see if the color would work, which is fairly good. I wanted this greenish yellow color on the gun casings. Turned out fairly well after some really failed attempts. See one right here, but this one works. Finally figured out to use the Japanese uniform from Vallejo color as a base for it. Worked out very nicely. Japanese uniform is a great color. It has really good coverage, and it's pretty beautiful color. say what you want about the Japanese during World War II. They did have some nice looking uniforms, and let's face it, why they didn't, maybe they didn't win World War II, but they at least finished in the top 10, so there's that. So, progress report. I put a first base coat on all the hands and a coat of orange on all the sleeves. One quick base coat. I am going to try and finish that up today. I don't have much time for painting today, so see how far I get. And finally, and my toxic pools are just about done. All they need is some varnish to make them more sparkly. I will need the darker pools I've made. I will need to do a bit of wet blending on those just to smoothen it out a bit more. But otherwise, I'm fairly happy with the results. My one attempt I got right here, where I wanted the pool to kind of run off the base, didn't turn out quite as well as I imagined, so the runoff will probably be painted over with the base trim. But since the base trim is the very, very final thing I'll be doing on the models, I'll stick around. Maybe I'll get used to it before and then leave it, but probably not. So yeah, that's mean that my models are getting closer and closer to actually being usable on the tabletop, and I still have at least a month to go before Necromunda is released, so this is really good timing. I don't think I've ever had any painting done before a release, so that's all good. All the sleeves on the arms got a second coat of orange, doing good now. Half the gun casings got the first base coat. That's about it. I did shine up a bit on the dark toxic pools. Hard to tell on camera, but they did get some green tone on top of it all to tie it all a bit more together. That seemed to work fine, and probably did the trick. Now they just need to get some gloss varnish on it. Then my pools will be perfect. So left to do, not much more today, but I will be back tomorrow painting with a vengeance. Got about all afternoon tomorrow, and hopefully I'll really start getting somewhere. So far I'm pretty satisfied with the paint job. That'll probably last until I start doing final details. That's usually where I ruin the most of my paint job, but we'll see when we get. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that'll be the end of this update. Bye.